today, the White House is touting the signing of a long-awaited minerals deal between the U.S. and Ukraine. Essentially, it gives the Trump administration future shares of Kiev's natural resources if the U.S. allocates new money to support its war with Russia. Yet, the agreement does not include any specific security guarantees, which Ukraine had demanded as part of a larger peace deal. On Capitol Hill, Democrats are speaking out against President Trump's historic mineral rights deal with Ukraine, going so far as to say the administration is extorting a war-torn country in need.
I think this minerals deal is more symbolic than real. It offers no immediate benefit to Ukraine or to the United States, for that matter, because most of the minerals are in areas under Russia's control.
Trump administration officials and Ukrainian leaders are touting the deal, saying it's a launchpad for expansive bilateral economic cooperation and is a signal of America's long-term investment in a free Ukraine. Meanwhile, Russia is blasting the deal, sarcastically praising the U.S. for making a deal with a nation that will soon, quote, disappear. So joining us now to discuss this more is John Sitilides, geopolitical strategist and principal at Trilogy Advisors LLC. John, thank you so much for your time. Obviously, it was a long road to get here, to get the U.S. and Ukraine to even agree to this deal. What got this across the finish line?
Several important aspects, I think, Tara. First of all, certainly if we go back to the implosion of the Oval Office, President Trump made very clear to President Zelensky that he didn't have much leverage at that point, and he has some leverage now. The United States is a partner of Ukraine. They'll be mining not only for metals and minerals and rare earth elements, but also developing oil and gas that will be a competition to Russia in the years ahead, as well as the rare earth elements processing and refinement that will help the U.S. economy de-risk from China. So Ukraine wins, the U.S. wins, and Russia and China need to be very concerned, not just today, but especially in the years ahead.
Now, we mentioned there are not any security guarantees included with this deal. So will the U.S. respond if Russia becomes, say, more aggressive?
I think it all depends on what we mean by aggressive. I mean, there are no security guarantees in terms of American servicemen and women on the front lines, but that would be foolish on the part of the United States. That would only exacerbate the situation between the U.S. and Russia and probably bring out a direct war. What's important here is that American companies will be investing, American civilians will be all along those front lines there, and Russia really isn't looking to kill Americans or to expand the war against the U.S. or against NATO. But if there is a major crisis, say over Crimea, and there's a Ukrainian effort to try to win back Crimea, the Russians may not care if there are Americans on the front line. So right now, I think it only helps Ukraine to have more Americans near those World War I type trenches that divide the Russian-occupied territory from Ukraine. But down the road, there could be other miscalculations by Ukraine or other countries that could endanger American lives.
So do you think that peace is further away? Do you think this helps at all? What do you think is the future here?
I actually think this will help bring the parties closer together to a ceasefire, at least. I think there's significant additional leverage that Trump is waging against Vladimir Putin. He's clearly expressed on Truth Social and in public statements his exasperation with Putin's refusal to come to the table, and the important language in this statement that the Trump administration, A, recognizes this not as a conflict, but as Russia's full-scale invasion, excluding anyone who supported Russia's war machine, quote unquote, from the reconstruction of Ukraine, and also providing for essentially in-kind sales of U.S. arms to Ukraine in terms of increasing the capital contribution by the U.S. in this 50-50 fund. So in every which way, this sets back, I think, Russian aims and objectives. And I think the message that Trump is sending is, Putin, come to the table sooner rather than later. The longer you wait, the less strength you'll have coming to that negotiating table.
All right, John, so many moving parts and so much at stake. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.